Seville is a city of flamenco, unique Mudéjar architecture, and rich Roman, Arab and Jewish heritage. After the discoveries of the Americas, Seville became the main port of trade between Europe and the New World, and the city entered its golden age. And as a tour guide, I can't wait to show you the best things to do in Seville, Spain. To get a sense of Seville, start on the top of the world's largest wooden structure known as Mushrooms of Seville. This modern landmark in the heart of the old town provides amazing 360 views. The structure is made out of 6 interconnected giant mushroom-like structures and has 4 levels. The underground level houses an archaeological museum with Roman and Moorish remains. Next to the museum entrance is an access to the viewing platform. First level is a street level used as a farmer's market. The roof of the first level is an open-air public square used for public events. Second and third levels are the 2 stages of the panoramic terraces connected by the footbridges. In the evening, terraces perform an impressive light show known as Aurora. Now you can dive in the largest old town in Europe. For centuries, Seville was the capital of Muslim Spain, but was reconquered by Christians in the 1200s. Thanks to its important river port connected to the North Atlantic Ocean, Seville soon became the center for Spanish exploration. The conquest of America made Seville one of the wealthiest cities in Europe. The city became the economic center of the Spanish Empire, and to reflect its new status, a massive new city hall was built in the 15th century. Spacious square in front of the city hall is dominated by the statue of King Ferdinand III of Castile, who reconquered Seville from the Moors. From here you can go in any direction to explore the old town that remains to be a commercial heart of the city. Right behind the city hall is the beginning of the most popular shopping street in Seville. Street has been a commercial heart of the city since the Middle Ages. At the time it was filled with blacksmiths, cobblers and artisans of every kind. These days it is dedicated only to pedestrians, as the blacksmiths and cobblers were replaced by shops and cafes. You can turn left or right in any of the connecting streets, as they are also incredibly charming. Everywhere you turn you will see numerous shops, cafes, tapas bars and restaurants spreading their tables around. Sooner or later you will end up on one of many charming old squares lined with beautiful houses, churches and palaces. In the northern part of the old town is one of the best nightlife areas that also happens to be connected to Seville's Roman past. Not particularly picturesque, but huge boulevard is dedicated to Roman hero Hercules. It starts with 2 original Roman columns, once part of the Roman temple devoted to him, as the legend goes that Hercules founded the city on 6 stone columns. Columns are topped with a sculpture of Hercules and Julius Caesar, who restored the city during Roman rule. The opposite end of the square is also adorned with 2 columns, topped with a lion and a coat of arms, one representing Spain and the other one Seville. Nowadays this area becomes alive in the evening when music performances draw people to the numerous bars and cafes lining this huge square. Seville also has the biggest and the most impressive bullfighting arena in Spain. Bullfighting is a Spanish tradition with much contradiction, but this arena with 1300 seats gets sold out each time there is a bullfight. On one bullfight, 6 bulls are performing and you get to see different teams of fighters. Bullfights can only be seen during bullfighting season that starts in April and ends in September. This impressive bullring is among the oldest and the finest in the world, and if you don't want to watch a bullfight, it is worth just to visit the arena and its excellent museum that explores the history of bullfighting. Arena is very close to the river, where you can find a beautiful riverside walkway dominated by one of Seville's most recognizable landmarks, a beautiful military watchtower from the 1200s. It was built by the Moors as part of their fortified city walls to control river access. There was a heavy chain that ran underwater to the tower on the other side to prevent enemy ships from sailing on the river. The name Golden Tower refers to Seville's prosperous period during the times of the American colonies. When ships landed here, the tower was used to store Mayan and Inca's gold. In addition to being a storage place, the middle part of the tower was used as a prison. Nowadays it houses a naval museum through which you can get to the roof terrace, although the view is obstructed with crenellation. Right on the other side of the river is a lively and colorful old neighborhood of Triana. This was once the commercial heart of Seville, famous for pottery and production of azulejos ceramic tiles with a typical blue painting. Nowadays there are surprisingly few tourists here, as this is not a district with spectacular sights, but it is a perfect place for discovering churches, authentic shops, ceramics, and lots of tapas bars. This authentic neighborhood is interlaced with quiet, small streets and lively pedestrian areas that are simply a pleasure to wander through. In different places you might spot bullfighting posters, as the most influential bullfighters of the last couple of centuries were born right in this neighborhood. Triana is also Seville's former gypsy quarter where famous flamenco was born. Initially it started as a type of singing. Later the guitar was added, and from the singing evolved the flamenco dance, which developed over time. In Seville, flamenco is performed almost on every corner. But to see a proper flamenco show, look for one of many dedicated places called tablao. Great shows are also available in the Teatro Flamenco, the House of Flamenco, and in the Flamenco Dance Museum, that also allows you to learn more about the history of this passionate art form. The most beautiful Andalusian palace in Seville was built as the biggest private residence by the Medinaceli family. Construction began in the late 1400s, but throughout the 16th century, the palace was remodeled in Italian Renaissance style with Mudéjar elements and decorations. Mudéjar style is unique and common in southern Spain, as it developed as a meeting point between Christian and Muslim cultures. The term Mudéjar refers to the Muslims who continued to practice their religion and customs also after Christian reconquest advanced into southern Spain. Remodeling of the palace in the middle of the 19th century completed its picturesque appearance. No wonder that this lovely building was used in several Hollywood productions. Palace is decorated with precious artwork and an impressive statue collection, including original Roman and ancient Greek pieces spread across courtyards and gardens. Part of the palace is still used as the residence of the 18th Duchess of Medinaceli and her family, while the rest of the house is open to the public year-round. The most famous, beautiful and popular park in Seville is home to many monuments, ponds and fountains. Park also serves as a botanical garden, and on its edge is the most famous square in Seville, Plaza de España. The story of the square dates to 1929, when Seville hosted a World's Fair called the Ibero-American Exhibition. In preparation for the exhibition, the entire southern end of the city was redeveloped, including the park. On the edge of the park, great Seville architect Aníbal González built this spectacular square that immediately became one of the landmarks of Seville. The shape of the square with its main building and two towers represents the embrace of Spain and its ancient colonies, as it is oriented facing the river as a path to America. The square is surrounded by a long canal crossed by 4 bridges representing the 4 ancient kingdoms of Spain. There is also a series of 48 benches with Andalusian tiles, each representing one Spanish province. No wonder that this amazing square was featured in several movies like Lawrence of Arabia and Star Wars: Attack of the Clones. But the city's tourist heart is the Santa Cruz neighborhood. Heart of historic Seville was once the biggest Jewish quarter in Spain. Here are some of the most important sites like the Cathedral and Royal Palace. But besides sightseeing, this picturesque area is also one of the best places for aimless wandering. Narrow streets provide protection from the summer sun. They are lined with historic buildings and houses, offering a wide variety of tapas bars, restaurants and shops selling souvenirs, handcrafts and ceramics. A labyrinth of narrow streets will take you to charming squares lined with orange trees. But one of the most romantic parts is Calle Agua Street, that runs alongside the walls of the Royal Palace and leads to the beautiful Alfaro and Santa Cruz squares. But the most impressive part of Santa Cruz is Plaza del Triunfo, a small square surrounded by the most important and popular Seville attractions. First one is the Royal Palace with the entrance right over there, the second is the Cathedral right here, and the third one is stuck between them. It is called the General Archive of the Indies, and for most, its name doesn't reveal much. This beautiful Spanish Renaissance building from the 1500s and its contents are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its prime location suggests its high importance, as originally it was built as the Merchants' Exchange. All voyages of explorations and trade to the New World had to be approved here. That is why Seville could keep the control over the entire wealth transported from the New World. But since the 1700s, this government building has served as an archive of the colonial history of the New World, hence its name. The archive, with more than 6.5 miles of bookshelves, contains 80 million pages of documents, photographs, drawings and diaries from the likes of Columbus, Pizarro and Cortes. Right next door is Seville Cathedral, the largest Gothic cathedral in the world and third largest church in Europe. But before the city was retaken by the Christians, this used to be a great mosque of Seville. Christians converted the mosque into a cathedral, but a century later the building was badly damaged by an earthquake. Plans for a new cathedral were made, and they had to reflect Seville's new position as a major trading center between Europe and the New World. After the discovery of Americas, Seville became the economic center of the Spanish Empire and the main European port of connection with the New World. That is why in 1506 the largest church in the world was built here. This UNESCO World Heritage Site has several beautiful doors that lead to an impressive interior with an extremely high Gothic vault ceiling. Builders preserved some elements of the original mosque, most notably a square floor plan instead of the customary Latin cross, and a bell tower that was originally built as a minaret. Church holds many great artworks created by world-class masters, but one of the artistic highlights is a golden Gothic altar made of 45 panels representing the life of Christ. Vast interior has about 80 chapels, and some of them contains the remains of Spanish kings. But on the most prominent spot, you will see an impressive tomb of Christopher Columbus, as Seville reached its golden days thanks to his discoveries. Columbus' remains in the casket are borne by kings of Castile, Leon, Aragon and Navarre. The bell tower of the cathedral is probably the best melting point of Christian and Muslim cultures and one of the most important symbols of Seville. The tower was originally built in the 1100s as the minaret for the Great Mosque of Seville. Soon after its completion, the Christians reconquered Seville and added a belfry on the top of the minaret. In the 1500s, the tower got a new Renaissance-style extension and reached its current height of 342 feet. You can climb to the top by walking a ramp with 35 turns, although the view is obstructed and the bells are very loud. No building in the city center is allowed to be taller than this bell tower. Its name, La Giralda, comes from a rotating vein sculpture on its top known as the Giraldillo. Interestingly, the city of Marrakesh has a twin tower just like the Giralda, and you can compare it if you watch my Marrakesh video in the top right corner. Finally, here is the most famous Seville attraction, the oldest European royal palace still in use today. You could admire it in the TV series Game of Thrones, as this UNESCO World Heritage Site was built over 11 centuries. It was first built in the 900s as a residential fortress by the Moors, as Seville was a capital of Muslim Spain. The fortress was badly damaged during Christian reconquest in the 1200s. Christian kings seemed impressed by the Arab architecture, as they transformed the remains of the Moorish fortress into a collection of royal palaces adorned with Mudéjar ornamentation and decoration. Part of Mudéjar style is also famous tile decoration with geometric design inspired by arabesque ornamentation. The most spectacularly decorated part of the complex is Palacio de Don Pedro. Here you'll find the famous courtyard of the Maidens, a superb example of an Islamic inner courtyard. It is centered with a reflection pool and fountain, encircled with arcades. You also shouldn't miss Ambassador's Hall, the most elaborately decorated room in the palace, used as the throne room. Its highlight is exquisitely decorated ceiling, an excellent example of Mudéjar-style design arranged in geometric artwork. As the palace has many more impressive parts with minimal information displayed around the side, having some sort of guide is essential. Audio guide is available at the entrance, but I would recommend you to book a guided tour in the description below. There you will also find my other favorite tours, tickets and experiences. My name is Rock. Thanks for the thumbs up and for watching, and see you next time.